Hey you guys, so I'm gonna do the intro this time. So I've talked Z into doing a video with me in exchange for getting her Starbucks. So we're
If you
on the way to
guys know, you
Starbucks.
know I think it's the pumpkin cold foam iced matcha is chef's kiss. It is so good, so good. But we thought today it would be interesting to talk about from boardroom to bedtime, right? Life balancing our careers and also having young children, right? I am in my third year now of being a primary care physician. I am a full-time physician, meaning that I get out the house from around 6:45, at least that's my goal, and I finish work around 5 p.m. What do you do, my husband?
Okay, so I'm an actuary.
Yeah.
I work at home, which, by the way, if you have a child who is like STEM inclined and wants to go do something on computers for their life, being an actuary is not a bad thing. So I get to work from home on my computer.
What is an actuary? Because I didn't know what an actuary was until I met him.
So an actuary is someone who manages risk. Risk could be like for car insurance, what does a premium need to be considering that somebody might get into a wreck and what's that wreck going to cost? Life insurance, the chance that somebody is going to die at any particular age, how much should that premium be? Things like that. And actuaries also do things like managing enterprise risk, retirement plans, all sorts of stuff. So managing risk.
And so we've been dealing with I still think we're trying to figure it out, right? We're on our journey of how do we be full-time present parents, right? But also do well at our jobs. I think we are both we are goal-oriented individuals, I would want to say. We want to do our jobs well, but we also want to be really present parents. And so I think sometimes, at least for me, speaking for myself, I deal with a guilt on the type of parent I am, but I feel like there's never that perfect balance. And maybe I have to come to terms with that. Do you have an example of where you kind of like struggle as far as with your work and with being a present parent?
Yeah, absolutely. So my job being work at home allows me a little bit of flexibility. Our kids' school is about a mile away from the house. So in general, when I get a call from the school, or when something needs to be brought up to the school or something like that, in general, I can go do it unless I have a meeting or something like that. I travel probably 5 or 6 times a year for work, for various conferences, what have you. That creates a problem because on a daily basis, I'm the one who's cooking dinner. Z, I don't really expect her to do that kind of stuff because she works from, like she mentioned, she's out of the house about 6:45 a.m. and she doesn't get back in until about 6 p.m., 6:30 at night. She's got a little workout class she likes to do after work.
It helps my mind. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good for my body.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for everybody if you have something else going on other than work.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I usually stay at the house, working, doing dinner, making sure that the things happen around the house that are supposed to happen. We have an au pair who's kind of a live-in child helper, who is great. She takes the kids to daycare and school. She picks them up from daycare and school. Our kids are 8, 7, and 17 months, by the way. So we have somebody who does those things. But as far as like overseeing what they're doing and managing them at the house, that's pretty much me, in combination with our au pair. And so when I travel, when I go out of town, it really throws things off. Z has to figure out what to make for dinner for everybody. If a kid gets sick at school, I mean, that's kind of a problem because she has 15, 16, 17 patients every day. And so, it's kind of a big thing to just reschedule patients because you have to leave and do childcare. So it's, we, being two working parents, full-time working parents, we have a system that works until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, then it's kind of a big inconvenience for us. And like Z mentioned, we have a lot. I think we both carry a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
In that, some of the other kids' parents. Our kids will be like, oh, Billy's mom, was down at the school. Billy's mom went on this trip. Billy's mom is bringing cookies. And well, we don't have a Billy's mom. We have a Z and Charles, and we spend time with you guys, and we do the necessary and stuff like that. But we are not the PTO parent. We're never going to be. And I don't know if kids are better off if they have the PTO parent, or if they just have somebody who they know is stable and going to be there. We have a house that they come home to, and they have quiet time to do homework. They have people that they know are there for them. There's plenty to eat. They have people they know love them.
Yeah.
If you have all of those things, are you better if you have the PTO parent?
I think for me, I'm going to give one example of, I think, where my guilt comes in, and then talk a little bit about my experience where it kind of gives me some reassurance at times. So this happened a few times, right? And our current childcare fills in the gap that we need, right? As far as watching the kids. Sometimes with our current childcare, with our youngest one, our 18-month-old, I will come home and, she's on her phone, I'm not knocking her, but I just see my little one there, and he's at the gate and he's looking at me. Now he says, Mama, Mama. And I'm like, why am I here all day? I should be home earlier so I can do reading time, do playtime, get him out and about and running. And I'm like, am I sacrificing my child's, socialization and education just to make a couple of more dollars, right? Now, my experience growing up, my mom was never a stay-at-home mom, right? And my dad also worked. So I was used to, having someone watch me, a babysitter, a family relative, extended daycare. And I thought that my childhood was pretty good, Of course, college years, you got bumps in the road and things like that. But looking back, I really had a good childhood. And so that brings me, I try to reassure myself with this thought that it's really about the quality with the time that you spend with your child, right? I feel like I've met people who have had a stay-at-home parent or mother or father, and they're still struggling. There's still some emotional turmoil that they're dealing with. And I really feel like, for me as a child, when my mom was home, during dinner time or on a weekend, it was quality time. We were talking to each other as a family. At dinner time, TV was off. We were talking about our day. And I remember so vividly, telling my parents about my day and my teacher and my friends and what I did, and, talking about the book that I read. I just remember those little tidbits. And a lot of people were like, well, your parents both worked. Like, where do they have the time? And I was like, it was just those little pockets of time that I remember. And that was enough. I felt loved, right? I felt emotionally whole. I didn't feel like I was lacking anything. And so I try to remind myself, as long as the time that I spend with our children, I am present, I feel that will be enough. Even yesterday, right, we had a random Saturday, we just went to some parks in the library, and it was so much fun, right? Just watching the kids run and swing and laugh, and our Monday to Friday is very hectic, right? With work and, kids karate and daycare. But it was just so nice on this Saturday watching them be carefree. It was a beautiful day outside. And I think those are the moments that they're going to remember, right? Going for their slushies, talking about their day, talking about their friends. I think those are going to be the moments that they remember looking back on. Because that's what I remember when I was a child.
No, that's very true. And I think the other side of that coin is I've known a number of people who are stay-at-home parents who, I'm not going to say they don't like their kids. I'm sure they do like their kids. but I've known a number of people who are stay-at-home parents who seem very frustrated by the fact that parenting is their whole thing. Stay-at-home parents who are always planning what they're going to do when they don't have to take care of the kids anymore. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to become a this. I'm going to become a that. And I can sense the frustration, that like their kids are holding them back in some way, or that's a feeling that they have.
Don't get it wrong.
For
some people really embrace and love it.
Correct.
And like I said, I have family members who are full-time stay-at-home parents, and they love it, and it's a job within itself, but it's their calling.
Yeah.
And so we're not trying to downplay
No.
Their role or responsibility. Just making sure.
No, not at all. But I'm just mentioning, what I've heard or from some of people that I've known in my life who are stay-at-home parents, and I feel some frustration from them. So I don't think the grass is greener on either side of this. Is what I'm getting at. Is that if you are a professional person and you do and you also have kids, and you have everything kind of in its place. My work is important, my kids are important, and I'm going to balance those things. I'm not sure that's better or worse than if you make your kids your work. Some people thrive in that. Some people don't thrive and come to resent it a little bit. So I'm not sure the grass is necessarily greener on either side. That's what I was getting at.
Gotcha. Well, let us know, for those of you who've had experience, who are parents or have, grown children, been through the process, give us some advice, right? Is there a balance? How did you navigate maybe those choppy waters of being a full-time working parent, but also being a present parent? Let us know down below. And as always, we tell everyone, please support our channel, like, subscribe. On that note, you guys have a happy Sunday.